Welcome to Redbeard Radio. I am Brian Keith, and we all have these things on our list where we know if we did them better, they would make a big impact for our companies. One of the things on my list for a while was, I really need a better email sequence to go and just welcome people who download a book or schedule a call, whatever. And it was on my list to go do this hard thing. And I put it off for years. I would build them for clients, but doing the thing myself that I know I needed to do, it just took me, embarrassingly, years to get that done. We're talking today with Jerry Adams of Men of Grit, who is going to talk with us about why is it that we shy away from doing those hard things, and how can we create an environment for ourselves and find that drive to go do those things that are difficult. So unlike me, you're not going to spend years not doing the thing you know you need to do. Jerry, welcome to Redbeard Radio.
Well, thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. It's great to be here and look forward to the conversation.
Yeah, I'd love to hear a bit more of your story of you've spent a long time in industry going and doing the hard things successfully. Can you give us a bit of a background of your experience in industry?
Sure. As you mentioned, I've been in the steel industry for a long time. I started back in 1988, and I was carrying tools, working on the floor, rotating shifts. I worked in maintenance, electrical, mechanical, operations eventually. And one time I, through a series of events, I was asked to become a supervisor. And so I started down that path, found out that I enjoyed leadership, and went back to school, got my bachelor's degree in organizational leadership, and continued to progress in my career. I found myself going into, when I went into leadership, I found myself starting to go into places that needed to turn around. So businesses that weren't going in the right direction, they were acquired, and the company that I was with, they would send me along with another team members to go there and help turn around. So I've done 4 different turnarounds and been able to build some strong teams. Had some good people around me, and we had a lot of success. But those were very difficult. Normally, you would go into a turnaround and it'd probably take you a good year and a half of really hard work. Calls in the middle of the night. You'd have to make decisions about leadership and get the right people in the right place doing the right things. Spent a lot of time talking to people and finding out where the issues were, and then start building a plan to take care of those critical issues. And so, it was a career full of going into hardship and working my way through those things to some level of success.
Now, why did you find that people who knew things weren't going right, why didn't they go do the things to fix the problems that they knew existed?
Wow. I think in a lot of cases, what I found is most people didn't have a vision. They didn't have an idea of what success looked like. And not only didn't they have a vision, they didn't have a clear path on how to get there. No one ever showed them, hey, here's what we could be. Here's what success really looks like. And here's how we connect those dots. And then, they needed a leader to open doors for them so that they could actually move in that direction.
Now, when you look at the transformations you achieved for these companies, how does that relate in your life to your own personal self and to the extent to which you've been complacent as compared to taking on those hard challenges like you would do at work in your own life?
Yeah, that's a great question, Brian, because I went through a period of time where I was very focused on my career and things were going exceptionally well. To the outside world, it was like I was winning. But to me, I knew that with success came a level of complacency in my life. As a man, as a leader in my home, I had allowed things to go in the wrong direction. And so many things in my life weren't going as well as maybe the career side was. And so I really had to do a little bit of soul searching, and I had to apply a lot of the things that I did in business to my home life. I needed to understand, hey, things need to change here. I need to figure out or how to get myself from this complacency piece to a better place. And for me, a big part of that was getting myself around the right people, around other
Mm-hmm.
men, people that understood the path on how to get from where I was to where I wanted to be. For me, that happened through the Fraternity of Excellence, but it's just getting around the right people. I think even in business, that's important. It's important to get around the right people, run with the right people, because people that have achieved the things that you want to achieve. And so for me, that was very helpful. It helped connect those dots. It gave me a vision for what's a strong man look like, and then how do I get from where I am to a better place?
I have a problem though, Jerry.
Yeah,
I've been in business for a decade. I have worked with some people and had some colleagues where I thought at one time, I thought, wow, they've really made it. And then as I got to know them more, it turns out that they were not what they seemed at first, that these trappings of success I was witnessing and accurately witnessing, oh, you have all the money or you have this business success, where when you dug deeper, you realize, oh, there's some lack there.
yeah,
And oh, that was not a right person to aspire to. They weren't a good peer. How do you ascertain that when you're trying to figure out who do I want to be around to make sure you're having really solid people around you and having the right influences? Because I've made the
yeah,
mistake more than once of investing significantly in people that now, from my wise old age, now I look back and say, oh yeah, that was not the right people to be around. Or that was not the right person to be investing my time in. But at the time, of course, I thought, oh yeah, this person's a heroic person who I want to go be more like them.
yeah. That's a great question. Yeah, it takes some time. You do need to invest some time with people to really understand what's under the hood.
Hmm.
Because I think for me to become a strong man, that sometimes you say, "Hey, I want to become a strong man," and that has different people have a different vision of what that looks like. For me, a strong man is strong in mind, in body, and in spirit across the board. And a lot of times you may find people that, okay, they go to the gym a lot, they got themselves in pretty good shape, but the mindset isn't there. They haven't done
Mm-hmm.
the hard work to fill those gaps and to become a confident man, knowing who they are, what they bring to the world, the value that they bring to the world, and where they're going in life. There's no vision, there's no mission there. And so they haven't done the hard work. And that was something that I had to do personally. But I found men, time with men and looking in places that, again, my experience with the Fraternity of Excellence. And this is hard, Brian. It's hard to find the type of people that we're talking about.
We're talking about the elite, right? Like you think the
Absolutely.
80-20 rule, so not just the 20%, but more like the 20% of the 20%. I want to read, Jerry, a bit from your blog here. This is a MenofGrit.blog. You're talking about the power of peers in your article about discipline. And I want to say a few of these sentences that you say here that really spoke to me. You wrote, for me, I needed to be around men who were seriously driven, no half-hearted weak effort. And you said, difficult because I saw many men who were satisfied with the status quo when you looked around, satisfied, not willing to do the work. And then you said, being associated with high value men, I noticed something. When you choose to associate with these men, you really need to commit to going all in. Men that are serious and driven about going to higher places do not wait around for those that are not serious. I want to dig into that. How do you know, both for yourself but for others, if you are serious or not? What's the flashing neon sign that can tell us is someone serious or not?
You get up every day and you move forward. For me, it's I look in the mirror, I see the guy that's in the mirror, and I want to be a little bit better than him today. And so every day I'm putting in something to become stronger in body, mind, and spirit, so that I'm just a little bit better than what I was yesterday, a little bit better than that. And so it's those guys that are continually moving forward. They don't sit still. They're always pressing, they're always pushing. And it doesn't mean that they don't know how to relax. They do know how to relax, but they have the most critical things. They've figured out how to get those most critical things in first, the most essential things. They build a routine in their lives that they do the most critical things every day. And it was hard to find people that have that kind of drive. It wasn't until I went into FOE and I found some men in there that were driven, and they were like always working and moving forward. And they had that fire in them that was the fire that was deep within me that I needed to bring back out, and that drive. Yeah, it's hard to find those kind of men.
We're coming here to busyness versus working on that which is really essential. And there have been times in my career, Jerry, and in my life where, oh yeah, I was busy, so I'll get out, but I wasn't being as productive on what really mattered. And now there's other times where I'm simultaneously deeply uncomfortable and also take lots of rest, go off and have tea with the wife, go walk my dog. And I take a lot of time off, sort of, except that I'm also managing more projects than ever and being more productive than ever. In your evolution of your own life, how have you developed that sense of the right balance between activity on specific projects versus that either downtime or that working on projects that might not directly be related? Like today, I'm adding on squats to all these push-ups I was doing for last month. And so I would get to tell my wife, hey, I did my 100 push-ups and now I've done 20 squats. Woohoo. And that's not, that's not work. I'm not on my desk, but doing that, doing 10 more squats before I come in here to do this interview, there's that balance there. And at times where I sacrifice my body for work, it doesn't go well when I make that a long-term plan. So how do you figure out what the right balance is between time in the office, time on the projects, I'm going to get this thing done, versus developing the rest of yourself and taking time off?
Yeah, I have this, I'll try to describe this to you. I think about things as the core of my strength. I think what we bring to the world is we bring strength. As I said before, body, mind, spirit. So when I look at the core of where does that strength come from for me, there's a few essential things. One, my relationship with God, my fellowship with strong men, strong brothers, the ones we were describing. I have a handful, I have several, but I got a handful that I can lean on. That when things are becoming unraveled, I can pick up the phone, I can call them. So I got strong brothers, and then my routine to build body, mind, and strength. That's the core. The next circle out is my wife and my son, my immediate family, those that I'm called to lead. The next circle out are those close friends and my extended family. And then you move out to work, community, church, out to the world. And so you have these rings. This is the way I envision it in my mind. You have these rings, and as I'm feeling strong, I move out and I spread out my influence into the world. But I can sense when things start to feel unraveled. I start to get a little bit short. My answers start to get short. I feel myself tired. I don't have the energy. Whatever. I feel these red flags, they start to come up. When that happens, I start to simplify. I move in toward the core again, and I say, okay, where am I at in my walk with God? Do I need some time talking with the brothers? And I stay in communication with those guys on a routine basis. Where's my routine? Have I screwed up my routine? Do I need to get back into the routine of building body, mind, and spirit? And so that's what I do. I'm always checking those rings. If I'm out spreading myself out into the world, I'm out here doing a bunch of different things, and I notice the relationship with my wife. I can sense that she's like standing over the corner like, hey, don't forget about me. And so now I'm like, okay, I need to close in those rings. I need to cut out some things, simplify, and make sure that is strong. That ring is strong. With my son, same thing. That's kind of how I envision things. I have this core, and that's where I go when things start to unravel. And that helps me a lot. And I have a mission statement, that mission statement to honor God, to be true to the man in the mirror, and to be a rock for those around me. This is what I want to do in life. This is my overriding big picture of what I want to do and the vision is to be that strong man. And that's what that looks like for me and for my life. That helps me to stay focused, to stay balanced. That helps me a lot, that idea.
I think I have my rings. I don't know if misaligned is the right thing, but if I delivered results to my clients at work at the same way that I delivered results in physical fitness or how I eat, I would not have a business.
Yeah.
Because I consistently deliver excellent results and have for a decade, to where I'll move heaven and earth. I will stay up late, get up early, work my butt off, move my schedule around to go make sure that my clients and their businesses thrive. And I sometimes do that with my working out. And I sometimes do that with how well I eat. I don't eat poorly, but there's times where I just like, I'm busy. I got work. I'll go eat, something that's not exactly real. Or like today, I've done some push-ups, done some squats. That's great. Haven't gone on a walk yet. Haven't really moved myself seriously yet. Got some great results recording interviews. Got some great results for a client. This is wonderful. But if you looked at just my calendar today and how many hours I spend on each activity, you would say, "Oh, well, you like to work, but you don't really care about your body." And that I know I'm not alone in that.
Sure.
I have a disturbingly large number of colleagues that can hear that and they go, "Oh, he's talking about me." No, folks, I'm talking about me. I might be talking about you too, though, because my discipline is based around taking care of clients and being that financial provider, instead of, like you're talking about, you have the circles where your center circle is your relationship with God, and then out from there, your relationship with yourself in other ways, and then you have your family. And so you have that core. Well, let me ask you this, Jerry. If you have a work project and you have your squats to do, which is the non-negotiable one?
Well, I build a schedule that ensures that I'm able to be pretty consistent. So I learned a long time ago. I have a busy life, running a steel mill, doing the things that I'm doing. I'm moving.
Mm-hmm.
I spend very little time on non-value things in my
Mm-hmm.
life. But I wake up at 4:15 every morning.
Whoa.
And I hit the ground. I have a routine in place to build my body, mind, and spirit every morning. So by the time most people are rolling around, I put in the big rocks. I put in the things that are the essentials. I've spent time with God. I've done my work. I'm ready to go. And I figured that out a long time ago, because with the career that I had with the turnarounds and everything, I got calls in the middle of the night. I got all kinds of things that went on. And if there was something that was absolutely critical to me moving forward, whatever that is, business, whatever, morning was the only time that I could control. Or I should say, that was the time I had the most control over and the least disruption. And so I built my life that way, so that the most essential things I get done. Now, I'll tell you this. I got this other thing that I think about all the time. I'm grateful for pain and failure, and I'll tell you why. I see this mission and vision and values, where I want to go, what that looks like, this mission statement that I talked about. I see that as like the front windshield. It's big, it's where I'm going, and most of the time that draws me. I'm moving forward, getting up at 4:15, I'm ready to go. But I will tell you this, probably 40-50% of the time, alarm goes off, I don't want to do it. But I got this rear view mirror, and the rear view mirror is the past, the complacency, the pain that comes with the complacency, the failures, the things that hurt. Those are the rear view mirror. I don't live there, but I occasionally look into that rear view mirror when I don't feel like doing the thing that I know is absolutely critical to success. I look in that rear view mirror and I get a real good picture of what things were like. And I feel the pain. And that pain is enough for me to say to myself, I am not going back. I will never be that guy again. And that is enough for me to get up and move. And what I've found is that a lot of men will struggle with getting things moving. And one piece of the pie is they didn't experience that kind of pain. They didn't have that kind of pain, or at least they didn't, they never surfaced it enough to understand why the complacency and comfort led to that pain. They haven't made that connection. And so when you make that connection and when you start moving forward and you start seeing the good things that come, there's so many good things. Even my career is so much better since I'm more solid in body, mind, and spirit. When you start to experience that, that's the front windshield. That's the vision. That's where you're going. But the pain is the rear view mirror. And that's the thing that I like to take a look at it. I'm glad I have it. It's like a gift from God, because I can look in that rear view mirror and I can say, okay, I know what that life is like, and I'm not going back there. I'm rolling out of bed and I'm going to go do the thing that has given me strength to be successful in this life.
For once, I'm speechless. Not a great thing for a podcast host, Jerry. That's profound. That's something else.
Yeah, it's been very helpful for me, because I get a lot of people, I run into a lot of guys, and I have a real passion to help men. I feel called to help men in the things that I've learned. I've learned to overcome some things, and I have a real passion. And a lot of men will say, "Well, I'm not like you. I can't do a lot. I can't be as consistent. I can't this, I can't that." And I'm like, "Hey, look, bud, I got to tell you something. If you lived in my head, you'd realize I'm not like me either."
Yeah.
And I said, I look in this rear view mirror often. And the reason I do is because I don't feel like it. I really don't feel like it. But when you experience things, when you realize you're not leading well, and you can see it in your loved ones' faces when they look at you, those are things you need to serum in your mind. You don't live there. It's not about beating yourself up. It's about remembering where you were and using that as fuel to move forward. And that's been very helpful for me. And I try to explain that to men, and some guys get it. But I want that for men. I want men to win. That's my passion. That's what I want. I want men to experience what I've experienced, because my life is so much better. It's all coming together now. It's not just one piece of my life. And back to what you said earlier, Brian, when you build that solid foundation, that strength, you are so much more for those around you. You bring that strength into your family. You bring that strength into your relationship with your wife. You bring that strength into your relationship with your son, with your children, and in the workplace. You bring that strength in to the workplace, and for your clients and for the people that you serve. You bring that strength with you. And if you take care of that, if you build, I like to say, if you love yourself, if you love yourself well, that becomes the basis for loving other people. And loving yourself well is getting yourself squared away physically and mentally. And
how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah. It's love your neighbor as yourself. And you think about that. So my love for someone else, the basis for that is my love for myself. A lot of people don't love themselves well.
Or as based on their actions.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I saw a guy walking down the street a while ago, a very obese guy, and he had a huge McDonald's cup of soda in his hands. And my heart went out to him. I thought,
absolutely,
this guy has heard so many lies in his life about what is healthy, what is reasonable. And here he is slowly killing himself.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to go talk to him. But of course, the distance is so big because he's heard so much stuff that isn't true that led him to this place.
Yeah. And it's sad. That's why I say, on my blog, I love the word grit. It's been a part of my life. It's the word that sums up a lot of my life. There's a thread that runs through there, but I love that word. I define that as the unstoppable drive to achieve results or outcomes despite resistance or
Hmm.
obstacles. And I really believe that the normal everyday person can become extraordinary by being gritty, by being like, I'm going to do just a little bit of something every day. And
Yeah.
when that obstacle comes up, I'm going to look in that rear view mirror and I'm going to push forward
Hmm.
just a little step at a time, and that's what I think of when I see when I see individuals like what you just described. I think you got it in you. You could be what you want to be.
Hmm. Beautifully said, Jerry. For folks who want to go read more of your thinking, we have MenofGrit.blog. And then the best place, folks, to find Jerry is going to be Men of Grit on Twitter. That's men_of_grit on Twitter. Jerry, thank you for being on the show and sharing your thoughts on discipline and windshield and rearview mirror, and how you managed to talk yourself into keeping on getting up at 4:15, even the half of the time that you just want to stay in bed.
You bet. Thank you, Brian. I enjoyed the conversation. It was great.